There is a new Fantastic Beasts movie coming out, Fantastic Beasts and the Secrets of Dumbledore. I personally think it's the best of the Fantastic Beasts movies so far. That's not a super high bar, granted, but I quite enjoyed this movie. My wife, who is a major Potterhead, Anne, loved this movie. Like almost in tears, she loved it so much.
Wow.
I didn't personally think it was that great, but I thought it was really good. I thought it was really good, very enjoyable. I'm looking forward to going back. I'm going to go back and see it on Friday. I'm going to see it again. So I'm going to go back and see it again. Well, one of the movies that is getting a release in China, because not a lot of them do these days, but is Fantastic Beasts and the Secrets of Dumbledore. It is getting a China release. However, it's not going to be the exact same version of the movie. There's been a couple of edits made to take out the any overtly gay dialogue from the movie. Now, for those of you who do not know, and I'm sure most of you do if you watch the films, that Dumbledore and Grindelwald were lovers. They were in love. And that's kind of a key important part of the story for you guys to understand about this. And in China, gay don't play in China. They're kind of, massive daredevil batons up their asses about the whole thing. And so Warner Brothers was presented with an ultimatum. You either take out a couple lines of dialogue or you lose out on the 10, 15, 20, whatever amount of millions of dollars that the movie's going to make. Warner Brothers said fine. And they ended up taking out 2 lines. 2 lines. This comes to us from Variety. Let's see if I can find the actual part. Here goes. Warner Brothers accepted China's, here's the part in particular. Warner Brothers accepted China's request to remove 6 seconds from the movie. 2 lines of dialogue, lines that go like this. Because I was in love with you, and the summer Geralt and I fell in love, were cut from the film. The Secrets of Dumbledore release via news.com.au. The rest of the film remained intact, including an understanding that Dumbledore and Grindelwald share an intimate bond. All right. So, understanding this, and understanding that everybody in the world is a supreme expert on what other people should do with their money. The question we raise here, is this a big deal? Now, I will just say this, and I got to watch it again. Maybe I'll feel differently once I watch it again. If those are truly the only 6 seconds of the movie taken out, there is no way you can watch this movie and not understand that these two had a deep and intimate relationship, a romantic relationship either. Like there's no way, even with those 2 lines taken out of the film and that 6 seconds removed, there is no way you can watch this movie sober. No offense, Aviation Gin. There's no way you can watch this movie sober and walk out not fully understanding that Grindelwald and Dumbledore had a romantic relationship and have a deep, deep bond. That's true. Any kind of censorship sucks. But it's China. Like you might as well complain that water is wet. It's China. We understand this. They're going to do it. Frankly, I am shocked they're letting this movie play there at all. I'm frankly shocked they're letting the movie play there at all. Because like I said, taking out those 2 lines of dialogue does not remove the complete understanding that these are 2 gay characters. Whatever. To me, if I got to admit this, if I'm an executive at Warner Brothers, and you got to understand, like, $10 million is the equivalent of 200 people's full-time jobs for a year. If I was allowed to leave everything else in, and those were the only compromises I had to make to the movie, and one of the Warner Brothers execs later on in the story, expresses the fact that we were able to completely maintain the implied message of the film within the film. If the difference between getting to play in China and not is 6 seconds of the movie, I don't, as somebody who's seen the movie already, I don't really hold it against them. Like, I think if those 6 seconds were the only things that conveyed to the audience that these two had a romantic relationship, I might feel different. I don't know. It's always a tricky subject when you're talking about frickin' China and and issues like this and censorship and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know, a little on the fence. I'll say for now, I get it. It was 6 seconds. They didn't really change the meaning of the movie. I guess I'm okay with it. Uncomfortable, yes. Okay with it, I guess, in general. But again, like, we're not talking about the U.S. If this was the U.S. or Canada, and like the U.S. government or the Canadian government said, you got to take out that gay talk, well, then we make a holy stink about it. But this is China. We understand this is going to happen in China. So I don't know. Rob, you hear this story. It's obviously complex. It's obviously nuanced. Do have to keep in mind we're not talking about 7 minutes of the film or them changing a lot of things. Warner Brothers is confronted with, you get either played it, don't play it in China, or you take out these 6 seconds. What do you think about what they did? What should they have done? I don't know. What's your take on this? We want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of this video, ExpressVPN. Now, guys, does it make sense that the same company who controls half the online retail also passively eavesdrops on your private conversations at home? Or what about the idea that a single company controls 90% of the internet searches, runs your email service, and gets to track everything you do on your smartphone? You guys know that big tech is more powerful than most countries are, and they profit by exploiting your personal data. It's time to put a layer of protection between your online activity and these tech juggernauts, and that's why I use ExpressVPN. You see, when you run ExpressVPN on your device, the software hides your IP address, something that big tech companies can use to personally identify you. So ExpressVPN makes your activity harder to trace and sell to advertisers. ExpressVPN also encrypts 100% of your internet data to keep you safe from hackers and eavesdroppers on your network. So stop handing over your personal data to the big tech monopoly that mines your activity and sells your information. Protect yourself with a VPN that I trust to keep me safe online. Visit expressvpn.com/Campea. That's expressvpn.com/Campea to get 3 extra months free. Go to expressvpn.com/Campea right now to learn more.
Well, the first thing I think about, it's a reminder of, you always hear recently, there's been lots of talk about how oppressive the United States is. Everyone's fighting for their rights and screaming for representation. And you forget that in much of the rest of the world, the LGBTQ community has no outlet. They have no voice. And we here in the United States do. And it's
to a degree.
Well, to a degree, but I think our LGBTQ community's ability to express themselves is exponentially beyond what a lot of other places in the world are. Whether it's Russia, whether it's the Middle East, whether it's China, there's billions of people that don't have the same rights that we have, that we take for granted here. That said, I think that, first of all, it's too bad that, Mads Mikkelsen and Jude Law are very handsome men. They should have gone farther in that movie as far as I'm concerned. But it's good that the movie is getting released because, as you pointed out, that relationship has not been a secret in these movies. It's been something that has been known, and the Chinese could have said, nope, can't do it at all. And maybe it means, those overt words, when people are actually saying those words, I was in love with you. You can't get around that. You can't translate that into a different language. So I think, look, do I like censorship? No. Do I think this kind of censorship should exist? Absolutely not. But because their culture is different than ours, there's a compromise here that's being made that I think is acceptable for that marketplace. It is not acceptable in this country. But like you said, what is it, 20 seconds, 2 lines of dialogue?
6 seconds.
Oh, it's 6 seconds, but it's 2 lines of dialogue.
2 lines of dialogue, 6 seconds.
Look, if that's all it takes, clearly the relationship, they're pretty smart over there in China. They're astute viewers. They're going to get it. But you appease the government. You don't say the actual words. Do I believe they should do that? No. But, it's just like when I go to a foreign country, I adhere to the standards of that country. I don't believe that I should run around and try and convince them, you must think the way I think. And in China, unfortunately, it is the way it is. You either put it out there, and you know what? Who knows? Maybe a movie like that would influence people to change their minds.
I'll tell you this. Even with those 6 seconds of dialogue taken out, this will be the most gay movie to play in China this year. Even with the 6 seconds taken out at that point, it still feels awkward. Anyway, What do you think, though? I mean, I just realized Chris's camera went out. I'll get that fixed.
I turned the fan on. Don't worry.
Oh, thank you. I mean, so it's just...
It's a weird, one of my favorite directors, Wong Kar-wai, is Chinese. And he made a beautiful film called Happy Together about two men and their relationship. Of course, they're not in China. They've gone to South America in the movie. But I've often wondered how that movie even got made. I mean, it was made in Hong Kong, but still, hopefully it's movies like this that I think advance the cause. Ultimately, while Grindelwald and Dumbledore might be on opposite sides of certain ideological issues, showing they're smart guys, they're intelligent, they're good at their jobs, and the fact that they were in a relationship together, I think that kind of representation's good. I think that ultimately it helps normalize these things, and it might take a long time, but I think for the most part, I like their relationship. Plus, both of those guys are hot.
Anyway, Chris, this is a to say the least, an uncomfortable story. Whenever you're talking about a government somewhere mandating culturalistic changes in movies, censorship, that kind of stuff, that's an uncomfortable thing in general. There are bigger compromises. There are smaller compromises.
Yes.
This one, statistically speaking, very, very minor compromise. 2 lines of dialogue, I think it's like 16 words, 6 seconds. But it gets more complicated because what are those 16 words and those 6 seconds represent, right? So it's weird. And should a company like Warner Brothers be willing to say, oh, we'll just throw that $15 million away because we want to keep that 6 seconds in? Understanding that studios make compromises all the time, even for the US market. There are many movie studios that understand things they do and do not put in their movies, not because artistically they wanted to put those things in or not put those things in the movie, but because they know it won't play in the US, in Canada, in Great Britain, in India, wherever. But I don't know. This is a sticky one. Mm-hmm. What do you think about what Warner Brothers decided? Should they have done something different? How do you see this?
Well, first of all, I'm glad to hear that it's not complete and total erasure of this relationship. That does make me feel more comfortable that we still at least know, as a viewer, these two are together. Am I thrilled with them taking out those lines? Absolutely not. And if it happened here in the US, I would be furious. I would be so angry. I'm very anti-censorship. And frankly, if you think that a kiss between a man and a woman is romantic and a kiss between two men or something like that is indoctrination, you're homophobic. There's no way around it, right? And so it's really, really a bummer to see that is so prevalent in other countries, that there is that erasure, that they don't want to show these people, right? And that sucks. That really, really sucks. And I hope by leaving some of this story in here, maybe that does shift things in China. Maybe we do see more same-sex couple relationships. Do I think that'll happen? Probably not. But I like to hope that having some inclusion of this story would help that. I understand why Warner Brothers did this, but it definitely feels icky, right? It just feels yucky that you would remove a love story, because that's what they had, was a deep love for one another.
Yeah, and we talked about this before the show started. There is the reality. LGBTQ people have existed from the dawn of time, all over the world, everywhere. Yeah. And the idea that we're just going to pretend or we're just going to erase a reality, it'd be like, it's counterproductive, and it's just one more thing that people need to come to grips with to advance the human species.
Absolutely.
Come on, man.
Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Warner Brothers made the decision to make the compromise, whether you think it's a big one or a small one, to take out 2 lines of dialogue and 6 seconds of the movie so that they could play in China, not changing any of the rest of the movie. And I'm anxious for a lot of you guys to see the rest of the movie to see if you agree with me that you can't. There's no way you can watch this movie not drunk and not come out understanding that these are 2 gay characters that had a love relationship in the movie. But I don't know. What do you guys think about it? I'm sure there's going to be a lot of different opinions. Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.